welcome aboard, everybody, here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. A lot going on here this weekend. We got, of course, you got the March Madness brackets coming out. But right now we got Major League Baseball on its way back. You got a lot of free agency movement going on right now as teams are getting ready for spring training, which begins tomorrow. This all coming out of, course, the lockout, post-lockout, and then, of course, you have the NFL free agency opening up as well. We'll talk about the NFL free agency. There'll be a separate video. I'll put the link there as well. But I want to open up here just talking about a little bit about what the Mets have to do, a little bit what the Yankees are doing right now as far as free agency is concerned. A lot of the big names have not exactly come off the board yet as far as free agents are concerned. I'm talking about like the Chris Bryants, the Kyle Schwarbers. Those names haven't come off the board as far as free agents are concerned. Carlos Correa, also another one of those big names that hasn't come off the board. Freeman still hasn't come off the board, although there were a lot of rumors about him going maybe to the Dodgers or the Braves. They're still trying to decide that. So not a lot of the big names have moved. There have been still a lot of moves made here and there that have had some effect on some of the decision-making, I would say, even of the Mets for that matter, with Carlos Rondon, free agent left-handed pitcher, going to the San Francisco Giants on a 2-year deal. So that changed the Mets' focus on what they wanted to do as far as starting pitching, and they go ahead and make a deal with the Oakland A's. They trade 2 minor leaguers for Chris Bassitt, and this is a very solid move. Now, I know that Bassitt's 33 years old, but you look at what he can bring to the table. This is a guy who's a middle rotation starter. He has a fastball. Watch the tape. I'm going to include the link below in the description here. Watch the tape because he is fascinating to watch. He has a fastball that rides in the mid-90s, around 95, 96 sometimes. He has a killer all-speed pitch on the curveball. Hangs around 73 to 75 miles an hour, and he gets a lot of guys to swing and miss. So he is going to be a really interesting addition to this rotation. Now, he came off of a career year last year with Oakland. He went 12-4 with a 3.15 ERA. He, of course, missed a few starts because he took a baseball off of his face, had to have surgery after an accident for that matter, and still came back and pitched well towards the end of the season. But he is going to be a part of this rotation. He's going to slot there right in the middle of this rotation for the Mets. And you look at this rotation for the Mets now top to bottom, with DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassitt, Carlos Correa, Taijuan Walker. It's a very good rotation, very solid 1 through 5. It also gives the Mets options now where they didn't have it before. For example, a McGill or a David Peterson can now either, if the Mets want to do this, keep one of them and in the bullpen for that matter as long relief, or more likely what they're going to do, option those guys down to the minor leagues since those guys have options. Peterson has options anyway, and if they need them, to call them up when they need them at that point. So from the depth standpoint, it's a solid move for the Mets. They didn't give up a whole lot. Yeah, they gave up a couple of minor leaguers. I understand that. But it's a good pitcher. They get a good pitcher, middle of the rotation, starting pitcher that they needed. Then the other move that the Mets made here, going out and getting Adam Ottavino. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of Yankee fans who are going to kind of scuff at the name Adam Ottavino because he did not pitch well a couple years ago when he was with the Yankees. But this is a bullpen arm who has been around for a long time. He, of course, pitched for the Yankees for a couple years, pitched for Boston last year, pitched really well, pitched in Colorado. This is an arm that, again, you can never have enough pitching, especially out of the bullpen, and the Mets need pitching. Jerry Familia, of course, going down to Philadelphia. I know a lot of Met fans are not going to stress about that, considering a lot of Met fans were not big on Familia. But you get Otavino in here, who is a veteran pitcher, who has pitched in big games, who's pitched in big spots. It's not a bad addition at all from the Mets standpoint. Are there going to be moments where you take a look at his career ERA, 3.60 career ERA, can be up and down sometimes, where he's probably going to drive Met fans crazy? Probably. But also that's the case with all relievers for that matter. The Mets need arms. They need arms in that bullpen. You would like to see the Mets go out there and get another left-handed arm. I heard rumors about Andrew Chafin, Brad Hand. Maybe the Mets go out and get one of those guys to solidify the bullpen. I would like to see also the Mets go out and get another bat, potentially, for this lineup that you could slot in the outfield or potentially in the infield, maybe even at third base. And there's been a lot of rumors going on that players like J.D. Davis, Jeff McNeil, Dom Smith, one of those guys could end up being shipped out in a trade. Up to this point, as I have to let me just quickly refresh your Twitter just to make sure. Don't want to be a guy that posts it and then it says, 5 minutes later it's like old news. But let's see here. Yeah, up to this point, nothing really crazy has gone down since, but those are the rumors that I've heard, that we've all heard, obviously, that those three guys could be part of a trade here. But spring training's about to officially start. Players were reporting the last couple of days in this blitzkrieg finish to the offseason here since the lockout ended, and that's where the Mets are. Now, they probably aren't finished. I think what's really interesting about a lot of these players that haven't signed, I think there are a lot of teams don't want to pay these big contracts yet. Teams are just trying to figure things out here with the new CBA. You also have players coming in. There's going to be injuries since everything's been kind of scrunched together here in 2.5. It's going to be basically 2.5, 3 weeks before the season begins. There's going to be injuries. I don't think teams want to give out those big contracts yet. And I think we're going to start seeing some of the big names start to come off the board going throughout the course of the week here. Now, one team that's been somewhat silent here has been the Yankees. And a lot of people, a lot of Yankee fans I know are upset. They were in on Freddie Freeman, then maybe they weren't in on Freddie Freeman. We haven't heard too much about that. And then you have the stuff with Carlos Correa. Hasn't signed a contract yet. And I know Yankee fans would like to see the Yankees go out there and get Correa. Nothing has really been, there hasn't been a major move yet by the Yankees except for getting Tim LoCastro, bringing him back as outfield depth. So what are the Yankees' plan? And then there was a story here earlier this afternoon on Sunday that Aaron Boone said that Gio Urshela was going to be the Yankees' starting shortstop, at least for now, starting the 2022 season. And there's a pretty sound reason for this, because the Yankees are probably thinking, hey, we got some good players down in minor leagues like Anthony Volpe. There's really no rush for us to go out there, sign a big contract with like a Trevor Story or a Carlos Correa and pay lots of money and years, for that matter, when we have some guys that we think could be good players for us down the road. That's probably what the Yankees are thinking right now. And Urshela is a good defensive player anyway. Maybe better at third base, but a good defensive player, very good defensive player regardless. So that's what's going on right now with the local teams. Again, not a lot of movement. It's been kind of quiet a little bit here as far as MLB free agency. We haven't seen, as I said, the big names haven't come off the board yet, and spring training about to begin in just a few hours. So, folks, what are your thoughts so far about some of the moves that have been made or haven't been made? What are the moves would you like to see happen here? Whether it's the Mets, Yankees, leave your thoughts below right here on this video, and like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation. We'll talk to you next time.